Hi everyone, it's Danny and today I'm filming a video on sort of what brushes I use and my favourite brushes, and also a little mini review on Real Techniques brushes because I think they're amazing and they're so affordable. And if you're looking to start using brushes, or if you just want to try out more brushes or anything like that, I think they're a great brand to buy because they're literally the only brushes I use really, apart from a couple MAC and a couple ELF. So yeah, I thought I'd share with you my brush collection. Okay, so I'll go in order of how I apply my makeup, and so for foundation I like using two different brushes. The first one is the Real Techniques buffing brush, and this comes in the Core collection, and this is pretty much my favourite brush from that collection. I only use one of the others really, but this is just amazing for buffing in your foundation and just making it look really flawless and seamless. Like, you don't end up with streaks or lines or anything like that. It just buffs it in really nicely, and you can use it to make a really good heavy coverage without making it look cakey, or you can use it to really sheer out a foundation if you want to use sort of your favourite medium coverage foundation but you want to sheer it out so it's more of a light coverage. It can really help you do that because it can really spread it over a larger surface area. And the next one I like is the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush, and you buy this on its own. I think this one is $11.99 and the Core collection is £21 and you get 4 brushes in it. And so I think that's really good value, and even I think $11.99 for this brush is really good value because it's so good at blending your foundation out. This one, I say it's harder to sheer out foundations because it's a little bit more tapered, but I still do really like it for just blending my foundation out really nicely. And I like this one for sort of tinted moisturisers a bit more. I do use the other one for tinted moisturisers as well, but I think I usually tend to go for this one if I'm using a tinted moisturiser. This can also be good for blending out your contour and blush a bit more if it looks a bit harsh, which I really like because I often make mistakes with my blush and contour where it just looks way too much. Next, for concealer I usually use my fingers, but if I use a brush I like using the Real Techniques Deluxe Crease brush, and this came in one of their kits. I can't remember what it was, but it was the eyeshadow one, and I did use this for crease eyeshadow before, which is what it's meant to be for, but I do prefer it for blending out foundation as it's like a really mini buffing brush and it really buffs it in nicely and makes your eyes look less, I don't know, dark and full of bags. It really blends it in nicely and it helps your concealer crease less, and it's really nice for buffing in around spots and things as well because it really blends it in rather than just caking it on the top. For powdering my face to set my makeup, I like using the Real Techniques setting brush, and this is a really small brush which I like using for sort of spot powdering, so like under my eyes where I put my concealer, like around my nose and on spots and things like that. And also if I have like an oily T-zone, if it's a bit hotter, I like using this brush for that because I don't really like powdering my whole face if I don't have to, because I do like my skin to look more dewy, but obviously there are some places where your skin looks more oily than dewy, so I use this to cover them and also to help set my concealer so that it doesn't crease on me. And if I'm going to powder my whole face, then I like using the Real Techniques powder brush. It's so fluffy that it doesn't make your face look really matte and caked in powder. It just really helps to set your makeup and still let the natural sheen of your skin shine through, which I really like because I don't like it to look really, really matte, because I like it to look quite natural. So this is a really good brush for that, for just dusting powder all over your face. Onto eyebrows, I use two brushes. I mainly use an eyebrow pencil, so I don't really need that many brushes or anything, but I do use a spoolie, and this one is from ELF, and I like the fact it's angled. I don't know why, but I find it really helps to brush them out nicely, and I like the feel of this one. So it was really cheap. It was about, I don't know, probably £3 or £1.50 or something like that. Their brushes are really cheap. But yeah, I just find it really helps to make my brows look a lot better. And then I also use the ELF small angled brush, and this is for filling in my brows with powder because I do it with pencil up to about here, and then this bit I do with powder, so it looks a lot more natural, and also so it's a bit lighter because my eyebrow pencils are quite dark so that they can really fill in the outside bit. But yeah, I really like this brush. I really like the thickness of it and the density of it, and it's just a really good little brush for a couple of pounds. For sort of bronzer and contour, I have two brushes I like to use depending on how prominent and dramatic I want my contour to be. And if I want it to be really dramatic, then I use the Real Techniques contour brush, and this came in the core collection with the buffing brush, and I really like it because it really fits in the hollows of my cheeks to make a really nice contour. I used it today, and this is sort of faded a bit, so I did my makeup quite a few hours ago, but I do find it really contours your face nicely, and I also use it to apply sort of bronzer in my temples and all of that to help slim my face. And if I want my contour to look a lot more natural, and also if I want to apply bronzer to warm up my face, then I use this brush, which is the Real Techniques blush brush. And I don't really like this for blush because it's quite big and I don't find it really works very well, but I really like it for bronzer and contour because it makes it really subtle and natural looking, and I just think it's really nice because it's really soft and it blends it out really nicely. And I also use this to blend out my contour if I've used the contour brush and I think it looks a little bit too harsh. I also have a new addition, which I forgot to mention, to my sort of contour collection of brushes, and that is the MAC 168. And as you can see, this is really fluffy, but it's angled, and I just really like it for sort of applying contour this way so that it is really in the hollows of my cheeks, but it also blends it up so that I can blend it in more with my highlight and just make my face look very sculpted rather than just more of like a harsh contour. And I really like it for that, and I also like it for applying blush because I apply blush on my cheekbones rather than on the apples, so I really like it for that. And these brushes are so soft, and yeah, I really do think it's worth the money. It was about £26, which is a lot for a brush, but it's so soft and I really love the shape of it for contouring and blush. Next, on to the brushes I use for my blush, and I have two brushes. I have one for cream blush and one for powder blush, and for cream blush I use the Real Techniques stippling brush, and this is just really nice because it's really good at stippling it on. It's a really nice size, it's not too small or too big, so you can just get your blush exactly where you want it. I really like how flat it is. It's almost like the shape of the buffing brush but just a stippling brush, so it's really good for blending out your blush and making it look really seamless rather than just a patch of colour. And for powder blush I like using the MAC 129, and this is a really nice blush brush. It's kind of tapered but not too much, and it's quite fluffy, so it really does fit on your cheek and put your blush exactly where you want it, but the taperedness helps it be more located rather than on a wider area, which I like because I like my blush to be just sort of on my cheekbones rather than spread on my whole cheek. So I find this works really well. It's really soft again, and it was £26 like the other one, but I really like it. I think it just makes your blush look really nice and not so harsh as usual. And I didn't really like the blush brush because it was over a really wide area when you use this, but this makes it more over a smaller area because you can see the difference in size. Next, to highlight, I have two brushes that I like using depending on whether it's a cream highlight or a powder highlight, and if it's a cream highlight then I use the MAC 130, and I usually apply the highlight with my fingers and then use this to blend it out, or if I want a more strong highlight then I use this directly in the highlight and then use it directly on my face. And yeah, I really like this because it's really small, so it really does just put it on the tops of your cheekbones rather than all over your cheek, and it also fits nicely down your nose. And yeah, I really like this. This was a really expensive brush. I didn't think it would be so expensive, but it was about £28, which is a lot considering I only use it for one thing. But I'm going to try and get more uses out of it, so if you have any other ways in which you use it then let me know, because I'd really like to use it more and get my money's worth. But it is a really nice dinky brush and it fits really nicely on my cheekbones, so I love it for highlighting, and I love highlighting, so it's not like it's really going to waste on me. For powder highlight I like using the Real Techniques contour brush, which is the same brush I use for contouring, but I really like it because, as I said when I talked about it for contouring, it's really small, so it really does just fit nicely on the tops of your cheekbones and down your nose and things like that. And I like the fact that it's tapered because you can really situate it in whether you want it. And yeah, it's just really soft and it really packs the highlight on without making it look too unnatural, and it just fits nicely on the tops of my cheekbones. Finally, for eyeshadow, I have only a few brushes that I use because I do sort of quite simple eyeshadow, so I don't need a large range of brushes, but I will be expanding my eyeshadow brush collection because I really do want to try and do some more interesting looks and not just stick to the same old thing. So if you have any recommendations for brushes which are good for sort of crease colours or blending out or lash line colours and things like that, then let me know, as I'd love to try out some more brushes so I can do more looks. For applying eyeshadow all over my eye, I like using the Real Techniques Base Shadow Brush, and I really like this because it's synthetic, so you can use it for cream products or powder products, and it's just really good because it can pack it on because it's quite dense at the bottom, but it goes really fluffy at the top, so you can really blend out the edges as well. And I like this for using crease colours as well because it just fits really nicely in the crease, but because it's fluffy it blends out at the same time. And so yeah, I really like this brush. This was part of the same kit as this brush, which I use for concealer. So yeah, you get 2 brushes out of that, which I think is pretty good considering they're about £21, and so that's only about £10 a brush, even if you only use 2 of them. And if you use all of them, then it's about £5 a brush, so that's actually amazing. Other than that, I only use 1 brush really for my eyeshadow because, as I said, I use the other one for all over shadow and also for crease. So the only other brush I use is the MAC 217, and this is just really good at blending out the eyeshadow, and I also like it for applying my brow highlight because it's really fluffy and it just blends all the eyeshadows together while you're doing it, and it's really great. I love the feel of it. It's really soft, and you know when it's dirty because it goes brown or whatever colour the eyeshadow you're using is, and they're really easy to clean, and I just really like it, and it blends so well. I think it was about £19, but I definitely think it's worth it, and I'm thinking to get another for when I'm doing really heavy smoky eyes and I need a lot of blending. Okay, so that's my brush collection. I hope you enjoyed it. That is all the brushes I use. I do have a good size, I think. I have enough to do whatever I want with my makeup, apart from really dramatic and heavy eye looks which use like 10 brushes because I just don't really have the patience to do them at the moment, so I haven't really bought the brushes. But once I have them I will experiment a bit more. But those are the brushes I have at the moment, and I really like them and I recommend all of them to you, especially the Real Techniques brushes. They are amazing. They range from around £9 to about £12, which I think is great because they are all really good. Some of them, as I said, come in sets which are about £21 and you get 4 brushes, so that's really good value because that works out to about £5 a brush, which I think is just phenomenal considering the quality. They're so soft and they're synthetic, so they are really good for either cream or powder products. So I really like them and I would recommend them to you all, especially the ones that I've mentioned, as obviously they're the ones that I use the most. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know any brushes that you like using and things like that. I can do a video on how I clean my brushes, but all I really do is use Johnson's baby shampoo and wash them like normal you would with other things. So I just sort of put the shampoo on them, wet them and swirl it on my hand and then rinse them, and that's pretty much all I do. It's not really that difficult, and then I just lay them out to dry. I don't put them upright because obviously it can loosen the glue. So yeah, that's just a quick overview of how I clean my brushes, but I can, as I said, do a more in-depth video if you would like. So leave a comment below if you'd like to see that, and also leave a comment below of any other videos you'd like to see. I do have a fair few pre-recorded because I have exams coming up, so I'll sort of be uploading them during my exam period so I don't have to film too much because obviously I want to be focusing on revision. And I hope anyone else who has exams is feeling confident, and good luck with your exams. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Like this video if you liked it, and subscribe to see more of my videos, and everything will be in the down bar, all my links and all the brushes that I mentioned, and also if I can find any links of where to get Real Techniques brushes if you're not in the UK, then I'll try to do that. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!